Hey guys, Koukun here. Today we're at the duplex conversion project that my clients have just completed here in the city of St. Catharines. This is on Marshall Avenue in the southern part of Welland. So you can see behind me, this is a brand new kitchen that has just been installed. So they finished this project, they went through the process, they got permits, and they legalized this basement apartment. So the upper unit has already been rented, it's been separated. One of the interesting parts about this project is that the entryway into the unit or into the main home was a walkway that had a staircase up and a staircase down. This didn't quite work with the layout that they had in mind, so they've actually gone ahead. It's a little bit tough to see, but maybe we can show from the outside. They've added a little deck and a staircase up for the main entry into the upper unit, and they've actually converted a window on the upper unit into a main entry door. And at the same time, if you follow me over here, they've installed a new side door, and this is now the new entrance into the basement apartment. So this did not exist when they bought the home. So if we go back here, so what we've done so far, they had to open up this space just a tad bit. They saved as much as possible all of this ceiling. Because in Welland, you're allowed to keep the existing finished ceiling. You don't have to take it down and do the soundproofing and fire rating. The city will allow you to keep this. And even though the ducts do come down a little bit, you can see that I'm 6'3", so you can see it's still a good 6'6", 6'7" ceiling height, which is awesome for a basement. You have stainless steel appliances. Not a huge kitchen by any means, but still brand new, and it's a very functional kitchen that's fully open to this living dining space for this basement. So if you follow me back here, they've added in-suite laundry into the unit as well, right? So this is something we try to do on every single one of our basements, just to make it a little bit more comfortable. They actually had an existing 3-piece washroom in this basement apartment, so we've actually gone ahead and just kept it the same. They haven't really done too much to this bathroom. Behind me over here is the furnace room. So this is fire-rated metal door, I believe, or maybe wooden door, but still fire-rated. And yeah, this is our furnace and utility room. So it's been fire separated on all sides, and this is where just the utilities and the mechanicals are. And then back here, we have 2 bedrooms. And the nice part about this home is that it is a raised bungalow. So you have a good size window for every room, for the living space. So just nice and bright, and it's quite a nice space. It's come together very well, actually. So I'm really pleased how it's turned out.
All right, so today we're going to be looking at a case study of a property that one of my clients purchased in November in the city of Welland. So this was a duplex conversion. Now, their story was a little bit different than the norm, but it's one of the many cases that we face. So these clients are self-employed, and one of the challenges with being self-employed, if you don't pay yourself a sufficient salary, it's tough to qualify for a lending. That's the traditional low interest rate mortgages you get from your banks, right? So as a result, what ended up happening is they were able to get a lending from a local bank for their personal home, which they were able to pull out quite a bit of equity to fund this deal and another deal that they've purchased with us. But they were not able to get the A lending on the rental property. So they had to go to what's called a B lender, where they end up paying slightly higher interest rates, shorter amortizations, and again, not the perfect scenario in terms of the terms they were able to get on the mortgage, but they still want to be invested in real estate and get the benefits real estate has to offer. And one of the interesting things that will open up to them when they buy their third rental property, we're going to explore through CIBC and also now through Meridian, another contact that I've been able to find where they have mortgage options, even for the residential properties, where they can fund some of these rental property mortgages based on the debt coverage ratio of the property. So based on the income that a property can produce, they can lend up to a certain amount based on sort of the parameters they set. So that's something that'll open up for them once they get their third property with CIBC. With Meridian, it may already be available, but I think the rules are going to be a little bit stricter. So they may wait until they get their third property to explore that with CIBC. So anyways, I'm going to share with you the numbers that of this property just as it is, and then just to give you a sense of what these clients were able to create. So let's share my screen here. All right, so this is the property located at 55 Marshall in Welland. So this is South Welland, still in a nice neighborhood, in a family-friendly area. And these clients actually, they struggled to buy this property. So they had to put in offers on 4 or 5 different properties and lost out in multiple offers. It was a tough time. This property pops on the market at $400,000, not holding offers. So they asked for a 48-hour irrevocable, meaning the seller was asking for 48 hours to review the offers. As soon as the property got listed, I called them, hey, property looks great. Do you want me to check it out on your behalf? So I went to the property without them. They couldn't make it out in such a short notice. Just went to see it, looked good, took a video for them, sent it to them, and told them, hey, it's a 1990s built property. Likely going to be very little wrong with the property when it comes to an inspection. There's always going to be some things, but this is one where I would personally take the chance without doing an inspection. And it's a perfect property for what we're looking to do. Price is amazing considering what the market is doing right now. It was in bidding wars, multiples. We were literally losing out on semi-detached homes at this price at this time. And here was a detached home available for sale at the same price. And we agreed, okay, you know what? Let's go in over what they're asking at 421 and go in firm, but give them only 5 hours to respond. So I think it literally came on the market in the morning. I went to see it at noon. I went to see it in the morning, but then we put the offer at noon. We gave them till 5 o'clock to respond. We had a firm deal by 5 p.m. that day. The day it got listed, I think. So we moved very quickly on this one to be able to get this kind of deal, because even when they put the offer on this property, things were starting to heat up, and we knew we had to move quickly in order to get this under contract. So let's go through some of the numbers. So like I mentioned, it was listed at $399, bought it for $421. Because they went with a B lender, I believe they had to put a 25% down payment on this one. So again, a little bit of a higher down payment at this purchase price at about $112,000 plus, their traditional closing costs, land transfer tax, and legal fees. But again, this is not money that they had saved up anywhere. This is equity that they had built in their personal residence, and they pulled it out in order to put it into this investment property. Their renovation budget was about $50,000. Now, this is a little bit lower than what our clients typically see, but this particular client is really hands-on. So he hired contractors to do the specific tasks he wanted. He was probably at the property quite frequently, making sure things were going smoothly, and he really controlled the cost of the renovation by being hands-on. Not everyone can do this. He has experience doing the previous project he did, doing renovations on his own home, and he was willing to be really hands-on and be involved. So he was able to bring down the cost quite a bit by parceling out the work to different trades to do the work that he's asking, not to do the entire project. Not something I would recommend unless you are someone who has this ability, and it is an ability. It's not just something you can pick up out of nothing. It is something that you want to either learn how to do by doing some renovations yourself, or definitely, I personally am at the stage I will only hire a general contractor to do these kind of projects, because it's not something that I'm particularly skilled at in terms of finding trades, managing the renovation process. So I'm going to rely on someone who's good at that, and I'm going to just focus on what I'm good at, which is helping people find these type of deals, putting them together, figuring out the financing, figuring out all the different pieces that are involved in the deal, but then having trusted contractors and architects and all the different team members we need to get this deal together. So again, they did about $50,000 worth. So that's permits, city approval, electrical, plumbing. They put a kitchen in the basement. Bathroom, in this case, actually, that's a mistake. It already had a basement bathroom. They had to do laundry for the basement and the upstairs. They did some fire separation, some ceiling work, some of the ceiling they were able to save. this particular case was actually interesting. They actually separated the entrance. So they did a side entry into the basement. They didn't have to dig, which was fortunate, but they had to build a deck and staircase up, and they enlarged a window to become a main front door into the upper unit. So that was quite a bit of work that happened. Again, if you were to do this with a general contractor, you're roughly paying 75 grand or more for a project like this, but they were able to keep their costs down by managing the project themselves. So good for them. They were able to save some money. In terms of this property as it is, I believe it's probably worth around 650,000 as a legal duplex if we were to sell it. On a refinance, I think it would be closer to 600,000 in terms of what they'll be able to get for now until we have more comparable sales. But at the same time, they actually are not going to refinance it because of their situation. So they're likely just going to leave the mortgage as it is until they get their third property and then look at financing options to get some A lending and tremendously boost their cash flow. But for now, they're okay paying the higher interest rates because the cash flow of the property actually is more than sufficient to pay for it. So the numbers work out. In this case, the equity they've built on this property from their total cost of their purchase price, land transfer tax, legal fees, plus the 50,000 renovation ends up being about 477,000. Up to that value of 650, they've built about $172,000 of equity, which is phenomenal in under 6 months, which is not normal. And I think I've said this now on a few projects, and I'll say it again. It is really not normal what we've experienced over the last 6 months. I don't know if it's going to happen again, but it's just don't expect it, right? Real estate is a long-term investment. Anyone that thinks that you can make money easily by just buying a property and 6 months later selling it to make $100,000, if it happens, great. You can sell the property and make your profit, but don't buy a property expecting that. That's unreasonable. I think you're going to set yourself up for some real trouble if the market doesn't go the way you plan it to go, and you buy a property purely based on speculation. So be careful with your investing. In terms of expenses, so I've ran the numbers here with a 3.5% interest rate B lender, right? 25-year amortization. And even at the smaller mortgage amount at 75% loan to value of their purchase, it still ends up being about $1,576. If they were with the A lender, it would probably be closer to $1,250 or $1,200. So it is significantly higher, but that is the financing option that was available to them. Property tax $210, insurance about $100, utilities probably $350, property management about $210. All in, their monthly cost is about $2,446 a month. And the income on this property, they rented out the upstairs for $1,750, and they just rented out the basement for $1,350. So it's a 3-bedroom upper, a little bit of a smaller 3-bedroom. It used to be a 2-bedroom, but they kind of squeezed a 3-bedroom in there. And then the basement is a 2-bedroom basement at $1,350 inclusive. So these rents are including all utilities. In total, their income is $3,100 a month, expenses $2,446. So in terms of cash flow, even with a B lender, they're still able to cash flow $654. Now, keep in mind, they have not pulled out any of their equity. If they pulled out their equity with a B lender, they'd probably be in quite a tight cash flow position just because of the high interest rates and the terms of a B lender. So I would likely recommend them to wait until they have access to an A lender, simply because they've funded the down payment and renovations through their line of credit on their personal home at the low interest rates. So it doesn't really make sense to go to a B lender at a higher interest rate to pay off a low interest rate loan, unless they needed to do that for their next purchase. So depending on what their situation is, we'll have to see their next few steps here to get their next property. But for now, I think they're going to just leave it as it is. And in terms of profit, so $654 in cash flow, about $7,800 a year. Again, that's not pure profit because they still need to set aside some of that to cover any unexpected vacancies and expenses, maintenance, repair, those type items. But this is the insurance that they have to stop them from putting their own money into the property. I'm sure some of it is profit, but not all of it. Mortgage pay down, again, because the mortgage is a small amount and the high interest rate, they're not paying down as much as we see on some of our other deals, but it's still about $722 a month, which is about $8,662 a year, which is pure profit every time they make their mortgage payment. And the appreciation they've had in the 6 months since they've purchased this property is $172,000. Part of it forced due to the work they've done, but part of it just the market has been on a tear since last November. So they've done really well in terms of appreciation on this property. Hope you enjoyed that. If this is a strategy that's of interest to you, check out the free guide I have in the description below at legalbasementapartment.ca, which is my beginner's guide to creating a legal basement apartment that I created with my architect Jordan. And Jordan was the one who helped these clients to do the permits and to create this legal basement apartment. So check out that guide if you are interested in doing the same. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy seeing the numbers, seeing the property, and getting a sense of what this type of investment is like. Keep in mind that properties we're purchasing today are much higher in price just because of that's where the market's at right now. So anyways, just a case study for you to see the power of owning real estate. In this case, over 6 months. I'm sure some of the case studies we do in the future are not going to be this lucrative in such a short period of time, but this is what we've been able to create over the last 6 months for this particular client. Hope you enjoy that. All the best.